Okay, hi everyone. It's great to have you in the third talk of our series of the financial talks that Women Tech Makers is having with FinMarie. And this time we will talk about Altersversorgung, yeah, which is like saving for retirement and so on. And Karolina, one of the co-founders of FinMarie, is here to talk about this, and she'll introduce the subject. She'll introduce also FinMarie a little bit. And before we'll begin, I'll tell you a little bit about Women Tech Makers. This is a group, so this is a part of the Google developer groups, and we're all volunteers who are really into tech and really into promoting diversity in Berlin. We kicked off in 2015. Since then, we are almost at 6,000 members on Meetup, which is pretty cool. We have meetups in all sorts of subjects because we are a group of 8 volunteers who are organizers with different interests. So anything from backend to frontend to product to mobile to marketing, if it's related to tech in some way, we have somebody who's interested about this and hosting an event similar to this one. If there's a talk you want to give, if there's a talk you want to hear, please tell us. We can try to cater to that. And some examples of events that we're doing other than this financial series is coding workshop for Android, for JavaScript, for Go. We're doing workshops on how to negotiate your salary, or panels on how to go back to work after 1 or 2 years of a leave, how to change your career, what is Docker, what is Kubernetes, and anything in between. We are mostly active on Meetup, so all our events are on Meetup, but we also have a Facebook group, we have Twitter, and we have a website where you can find blog posts about all kinds of cool things we do. This recording is going to our YouTube channel, and the structure of the day is that we'll have an hour talk, and we'll have an hour for Q&A. So Karolina has been, we sent the questions that we've collected ahead, and this will be part of the presentation, and if you have more questions afterwards, you can type them even during the talk. And then once the talk part is done, the Q&A will begin by reading out the questions, and then Karolina is answering. And the entire thing is recorded, so this will be available later. If you do type a question, take in consideration that this might be visible, so reminder to change the name to anything you're comfortable with. And los geht's, please welcome Karolina without further ado.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. It's our third round, I will say. The last session was with Karoline, my co-founder, actually. Yeah, so maybe maybe I will just explain you for those one who do not know FinMarie yet. So we are online investment platform made for women in Germany, actually in Europe, the first one. And our main goal is to increase the financial knowledge and help women to start investing their money in easy and mostly for very fast way to invest their money in short and just fulfill their long-term goals. On the one hand, we have classical financial advisory, so it's called Honorarfinanzberatung in German. So it's nothing more like just typical financial advisory that we help women to set up their goals, to help them with the budgeting, to help them schedule their portfolio, to help them start investing their money. And that's one part that we are involved. And the second part is actually an online investment portfolio. We set up 2 investment portfolio. One is based on cost efficient ETFs portfolio, exchange trade funds that you can start investing with the minimum amount of €25, like saving account plans. And on the other hand, we have actively managed sustainable investment fund for those one who would like to invest really in social aspect, ESG criteria and stuff like that. But today my topic will be about the pension chain, about the situation in Germany, how it's looked like. I have to say it took me quite a long to also understand this topic. It's quite difficult for expats especially, and sometimes it's hard to really get it and take overview of all the stuff which are here in the German system. So today I will try for sure to explain you some some retirement rules and pension schemes offered that are on the market, and what are actually the possibilities, what you can start thinking about it, and what is the situation at the moment. So probably, as you know, in Germany we have the pension plan, which is called top up, and that's mean that each of you pay a monthly amount on the pensioners' benefits, which is additional the supplementary pension plans. Germany pension system, actually, it's very interesting. It was founded in 1989, so it's pretty old one, but it's belonged to one of the most well-known and most secure system in Europe. I think it's on the list of OECD is on the 13th place, so it's quite impressive. This ranking is also steadily improving due to the German government. They try to reform the system. They try to streamline this pension system. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And even since Germany established the system in 1889, it still needs to be rebuilt, recover, and still need to be reformed due to the different external components like interest rate. At the moment we have very low interest rate. At the moment we have inflation around 2%. So that's all the factors that need to be taken into account in order to upgrade, reform our pension social security system. And currently is that about more than 85% of the workforce in Germany is enrolled with this public retirement insurance. It's called gesetzliche Renteversicherung, GRV. And also civil servants who make up more than 10% of the workforce. They have their own pension system in Germany, and also self-employed who make about around also 9% of the workforce are mostly self-insured. But the problem with the German pension scheme is that there are two things. One of the things is engaging population, and also the number of people with the young children, young families. At the moment in Germany is that like this, that per family is 1.4 child. So that means when we will be in the age of 67 in our retirement age, there won't be much in this basket. There won't be much in this basket because there are not enough children who will pay for this basket. So now is the question, what you can actually do as a private investor, what you can, how you can start saving for your retirement and building your wealth, if it's only the option to put money into the gesetzliche Renteversicherung, or there are any other options. But before I go to this point, I want to just give you some numbers in terms of what is the German pension age at the moment. At the moment it's 67. It is possible to climb early retirement in Germany, and if you contribute for at least 35 years. This allows you to retire with the age of 63 with a state pension, but the number of months that you would have to work until the German pension age is 65 or 67 if you were born after 1963. So all of us 67. And this each missing year that you probably could have, for example, if you go abroad and you cannot pay for the pension scheme, results about 3.6% of reduction in the whole pension and entitlement. So if someone is not able to pay for the retirement until the age of 67 and want to go to retire at the age of 63, that means that your pension and entitlements would be reduced by more than 14%. However, there are many individuals that contributed for the pension secure system for more than 45 years, and they are able to retire it with the age 65 without having a German pension entitlement deducted. The good example are like our parents. They can allow to go to the age of retirement, age 63, if they have the minimum 35 years working on hours. And who can actually get the German pension here in Germany? If you work for a German employer who made contribution regularly to the German pension fund, this German pension fund is called Deutsche Rentenversicherung Bund, DnB. So if your employer, it doesn't matter if it's a German employer or international employer, then the main criterium is its headquarters is in Germany, so it's obliged to pay tax here. You may be able to get this pension. There are, of course, many conditions applicable to the German pension process. You must, of course, have completed the qualified insurance period, typically a set of amount of months or years. And this depends on the type of German pension, of course, that you're applying for. If you may require a minimum qualification for the period of working, that's mean paying German social security, it could be for 5, 20, 25, 35 or 45 years. And for the standard old age pension, the minimum qualified period is 5 years. So with the 5 years, you can already save for the pension. And if you are self-employed, if you are a freelancer, you have, of course, the different options. One of them is, of course, that you are not, you don't have to pay if you don't want to. So the freelancer do not have to contribute to the governmental healthcare, unemployment, pension insurance, but of course it's recommended. There's of course the expectation of artists and journalists. So for example, if you are a photographer or graphic designer or working in this creative area, this group of freelancers have to contribute to the government social insurance system, which covers pension, health insurance, care insurance, and if they don't, they must join to KSK. It's Künstler Soziale Kasse, so it's obligatory. But if you decide not to pay to pension to German pension plan because of any reason that I will mention you later on, there are some stuff that you should think about it before you decide not to do it. So first of all, you should have at least health insurance, which covered all the risk of illness, of loss of income or whatever. The second important insurance is disability insurance to cover the risk of monetary loss if you are unable to working due to the illness, or even due to the, for example, you broken the arm or you lost your arm and you cannot do work on the computer or something like this. So this disability insurance makes sense in this case. And life insurance is also an option as an additional retirement income. It makes sense in the terms where you decide to set up a family, raising children, and stuff like this. Okay, and now let's go to more details. German pension rates and contribution. How does it work actually in Germany? Your annual salary determines the amount your contributes toward the state German pension, and your employer automatically deducted this amount and contributes an equal amount. And the maximum contribution in 2018 was almost 20% of gross salary. So it was 9.75% by the employee and 9.75% by the employer. This contribution will rise to 20% by the end of 2025. So it will be divided 10 and 10. And the current contribution assessment is around 6,500 per month in West German, and 5,800 euros per month in East German. those earnings low income, less than 450 euros, are exempt from paying contribution, of course. If you pay into the system, but you don't feel the minimum of the 5 years, you can get a refund on a payment made. And this refund of contribution is added to your retirement account, but of course you have to check the implication of the German pension refund, or seek the professional advice, because it depends, of course, by which insurance or by which pension fund you are registered. So from some of them it's easy to get the refund, some of them it's no way, it's very hard to get this refund. You have to be really proactive to apply for that and get this back. Here I prepare for you some Altersrente. So it's like graphics which shows how much retirement we will get in the age of 67. And if you see in Berlin, depends if it's Berlin West or Ost, it's between 902 euros and 1,128. There are some regions in Germany which is even lower. For women so it's not divided into the gender, so it's not women versus men, it's like overall. But there are many statistics which shows that women and this gender pension gap, they have really a disadvantage, and it's very important to take care about your finance and to start investing long term and decide what are the options for me at the moment. It's better to do it now than later on. And I did actually a simulation. I did a simulation of my personal pension gap in old age. So I simulated that's a lady. She is 36 years old. She wants to go to retirement with the regular at 67. She has wage increase per year 2%. She is living in all federal states. She's married with one child, and her annual income previous year was 54,000 euros. And here you see how it's calculated according to her income. And she was the first employed in 2000. So after her studies, she starts small job already. And based on this personal data, the women can expect a monthly net pension of approximately 1,755 euros at the age of 67. Based, of course, on the today purchasing power. So based on that her annual income will not decrease. Based on that her wage will increase per year 2%. Based on that she won't take 2 years maternity leave or unpaid job or unpaid leave or whatever. And this corresponds approximately 67% of the expected last net wage, which was 2,600 euros. And in general, however, you no longer need to fulfill your earned income when you retire. With 80% of your last net salary should be sufficient actually to provide you when you are retired. That's the rule, yeah. But this corresponds to 2,085 euros in this case. So it's mean this person will not achieve the pension target which was expected. So it's missing 330 euros each month. 330 euros each month. It's not per year. It's per month. So it's quite impressive how much needs to be added on top of this regular pension chain. And basically in Germany we have 3 pillars of the German retirement system. The first one is the government-run retirement insurance, which is like mandatory state pension. The second one is private company plans, which is company or occupational pensions. And the third one is private individual retirement investment, private pension, or like private investment. And now I would like to go with you through the three pillars to the German retirement system, and then we can concentrate on each of them more specifically. So we have the first one. The first one, the public retirement insurance system, which is also called statutory pension insurance, which is called Gesetzliche Renteversicherung, GRV, which also includes survivors or disability benefits. It's very dominant. Participation is mandatory for employers, with each worker are set for a sum based on annual earnings, and the premiums are deducted by the employer, and the employee paying half of and the employer pay the half, and it will be 20% by the end of 2025. And in 2020, the premium is 80.6% of the gross monthly wage or salary. And this is assets on the monthly incomes up to a maximum of 6,900 euros. So it's about 82,000 euros per year. And in the West German, it's around 6,450 euros, which is about 77,000 euros. And what I mentioned before, this contribution to the plan are also to be increased about 20% by the end of 2025. So there are no minimum or maximum amount paid. The overall pension payment is calculated by the number of years that you contribute to this pension system, your age and average income, and of course how many other people in the similar situation also paying to the system. If you want to find more information about the Gesetzliche Rentenversicherung GRV, you can find it at Deutsche Renteversicherung.de, and they also have the English in speaking people there. English language is also there, so Deutsche Renteversicherung.de, so you will find information there. And no matter where, whenever you start your new job, you will need to provide your employer with this number, so that they can keep the track all your pension contributions. So for example, if you change the employer, it's good to also, anyway, it's the part of onboarding process, but it's always good to keep in mind to deliver this social security, Sozialversicherungsausweis, this social security number, because this social security number is like your taxation number, will be with you for the next more than 35 years until retirement. Yes. So who can apply actually? Who can apply actually for this state pension? In order to get this German state pension, you need to have been working for a minimum 5 years in Germany. Minimum 5 years. And the amount of this Renteversicherung that you will receive by the end of your working time in your retirement depends on the amount of the contribution that you build up during your working life in Germany, and depends on your, of course, on your income wage. During this time, it's also very important, because not everyone know that, as well as the time spent on working, there are some other situations which are also considered the contributory period for this state pension. One of them is take time out of raise children, so Mutters, so for example, Elternzeit. Education or training, when you decide to study, bachelor or master degree. A period of illness or sustainable unemployment. So, for example, if you are registered as unemployed, you will get this state pension anyway. If you get the Hartz IV, you will get this state pension as well. And also the third period is time spending caring for relatives. So for example, if you take care of your elder people or your parents or grandparents, you can also actually it will also be calculated for the state pension. Yeah. Then we have the second pillar. The second pillar is called company pension. It's called betriebliche Altersversorgung BA. And the second component of the German pension system is collective pension schemes, to which workers contribute through their employers. And it's designed as a supplementary to the state pension plan. And company pension are becoming very popular in Germany, and more than 60% of the German population actually they participating in that. And it's not obligatory for employers to offer pension scheme, but there are many government subsidies and tax benefits, tax breaks that make them, of course, more attractive option for the employers. And there are different options. So this pension schemes are either managed by the companies themselves or pension association operating on behalf or multiple companies. So depends if it's direct pension promise or it's direct pension companies. It's a different constellation. Yeah, so what are the options? So we have we have basically two German company pension. One of them is direct pension promise, Direktzusage, and the second one is external pension plan. For the first one, direct pension promise, it means that in this case, the employer usually pay benefits directly to the employee without using any external pension vehicle. So without using any Versicherung companies, pension kasse and stuff like this. And the idea behind this is that the employer gives you a promise that he or she will pay you an agreement amount once you retire it. And basically in Germany is 4% tax deductible contribution limit, which applies to the external pension vehicles, like for example pension kasse, pension funds, and the employer can deduct the completely annual pension scheme contribution to the book reserve from tax income. So of course for the employer it's not only it's very good tax benefits on that, and actually in recent years large companies set up many agreements. It's called CTS, it's contractual trust agreements to fund their pension liabilities of the balance sheet, and that's why the idea of direct pension promise it's very popular nowadays. The second option is external pension plan, where the employers take out a plan with the external provider, such as a life insurance, independent pension provider, or support fund. It's also working pretty well in Germany. It's as I said, it depends from the size of the company. It depends how much money do they want to spend for the pension programs for employers. There are some of them they decide to put money into investment and don't play with life insurance or something like this. So it depends from the employer basically. Yeah, and there are different benefits. One of the benefits, company pension contribution, it's between 3 to 15% of your month gross salary, and those contributions are usually paid by employer directly into the pension fund from your salary. So you will not even, I mean, you have the payslip, you see the contribution, but it's deducted from your salary straight away. And as it is paid before income tax, you receive a tax advantage, and of course your employer will also usually top up your contribution, so it makes sense. What are the other benefits? The other benefits are, of course, if according to the German federal government law, and all the contribution to the company pension schemes are protected. So in case your company is insolvent or goes bankruptcy, you will get this money. You will get this money back. So it's a big advantage for sure. And there are basically 5 different common types of company pensions. One of them, there's this Direktversicherung, which is called direct insurance. And how does it work? So it's work like this: does employer arrange a life insurance and pension policy for the workers? It's very typical in a big old German strategic companies and also klein Mittelständler Unternehmen, where the employers arrange the life insurance, and the pension is then paid by the life insurance company. And the employee has a direct entitlement to the benefits which occur under this insurance company. And insurance company, this life insurance company, are subject to supervision by Federal Financial Authority, which is a German Federal Financial Supervisory Authority, which is called BaFin. And for example, in this life pension insurance by company pension, they don't allow to invest in equity. For example, in stocks, more than 35% of the amount that they will invest. So maximum 35% of the whole amount can be invested in stock markets, for example. And it's also applied for the pension kasse. They are and insurance funding vehicles. Then we have, which is called direct grant, Direktzusage, and it's working like this: does the employer pledge to provide future pension benefits payments for the employee, and it's also set up with the traditional agreement between the pension provider and employer and employee. Then we have support fund, Unterstützungskassen. And some of the companies, usually the large ones, they have their own pension schemes that pay benefits to the employees upon retirement. And of course, all this contribution to support this funds are tax deductible without limits for both sides. So it's you as an employee, you can deduct it, and also employer can deduct it. So it's good option, but not all the employees they offer such a programs. Then we have the pension company. It's called Pensionkasse, and it's also similar to Direktzusage. So it's working like this: that the employer arrange contribution to the pension scheme. On this pension scheme is operated by any association which is specializing in company pension. And then this association, they pay the employer's pension. And basically it's like this: that this pension kasse, there are independent insurance companies that normally serve a couple of several employers. And the last but not least, we have this pension fund, pensions fund. It's very popular nowadays. The company found its own pension scheme. The main difference is that this scheme, unlikely to the other company schemes, often invest large amount of the contribution in stocks or shares. So like employee stock program, stock option program for the employees. And this pension funds can be set up by a single company. It's very popular by the technology startup, or it can be set up by the financial service provider. Many financial service providers were on the moment on the market, like robo-advisors, so online wealth managers. They also have the option for the companies where they actually invest not in insurance companies, but they invest money in stock markets. So as I mentioned, there are the most common types of company pension. Depends on the employee size of the company and of course the branch in where they specialize. Yeah, we have of course the third pillar, which is private German pension, and the third component of the German pension system is set up by the banks or insurance companies. And of course, the federal governments provide incentives such as bonuses, tax incentive to encourage German population to contribute into it. And there are two best well-known probably, Riester-Rente and RUP. And Riester-Rente, there is a pension plan, it's a life annuity plan, which is subsidized up to the amount of 2,100 annually, and at least 4% of the personal incomes it's put towards the pension plan, and it's monthly 154 euros and additional 185 euros per one child. And 300 euros if they're born after 2008. So the Riester-Rente pension fund, it's a pension plan, an annuity pension plan, which could give the additional advantage for the families with many children, because then you have this additional Zuschuss, 185 euros per child, and of course all these contributions are also classified as a special expense for tax purposes, and of course they are tax deductible, and it's maximum, as I mentioned, 2,100 euro per year. And there is the idea, because the government noticed that young people do not pay for the Riester-Rente product because of the many reasons, like very low interest rate at the moment, or due to the inflation rate, which is around 2%. They give, of course, the additional incentive, which is one of bonus 200 euros that you can say. So Riester-Rente, but Riester-Rente, it's not very flexible product. If you wanna if you notice that you need that money and you need cash flow and you need more liability, Riester-Rente, it's not a good option. Riester-Rente had this advantage that you get additional Zuschuss per child. The second option is ROP, a pension plan, and the ROP pension plan, it's also annuity plan that is more flexible than the Riester-Rente plan, and it makes more sense for self-employed people, freelancer, for those ones who earn a lot of money. But the maximum data deductible amount that could be invested, it's 23,362 euros per year for a single, and for a married people it's 46,700. And this savings can be divided freely between wife and husband. And the amount of tax deduction is rising by 2% per year. At the couple years ago it was 60%. At the moment we have 85%, and by the end of 2025 it will rise additional to 2% steps. Yeah, there's the option also. As an expat living in Germany, probably you also consider to invest in your country. Probably you also consider two different other options as investment. And the question is, which many people ask us, is can I is it possible to receive this German pension benefits if I move abroad? It's a very common question. And of course, the amount that you receive depends on how long you contributed, what is your salary, and what is your age you retired. And if you only work for a short time in Germany, you may also be entitled to a refund. But if you move abroad, you can have this pension payments refund if you have contributed for at least 5 years. So that's the rule. Yeah, if it's less than 5 years, it's very unlikely that you will get refunds on that. The second option is, can I contributed it when I'm living abroad? Actually, if you move abroad and you will not longer contribute to the statutory pension system, so there's the first pillar, and through your income taxes, that means you will stop accruing pension points, and it's not usually possible to continue to contribute to the company or private pension scheme from abroad either. So it could be difficult. But if you have been contributing to a German pension plan, either state, company, or private one, it's important to inform your pension provider, of course, of your relocation as soon as possible, because they have to calculate it, and they, of course, the idea behind it that they will be able to advise you on which action you should take to prevent from missing out this amount that you already pay in. The third question is, can I receive my German pension abroad? Yes, when you reach the German retirement age, you can start claiming your state and private pension from abroad. It's maybe also possible to claim a company pension from abroad, but as I said, you should check it with the employer. Depends what are the agreement between the pension company pension and insurance companies. And of course, it depends how much you were paying. So if you switch quite often your job, it's sometimes it's hard to navigate how much you will get by the end of the time. But that's why it's very important to inform your next employer about the status of your pension. Yeah, the question is if it makes sense actually to pay for the German 3 pillars. There are pros and cons on that. When we look at the statistic and the situation which is at the moment with the corona as well, the idea to pay the classical German pension scheme, it's actually not so good. If you are looking for secure possibilities, if you are not thinking on long-term investment, that maybe it's a good option. But if you are thinking about long-term investment, if you are thinking to not only to pay to get the amount that you pay in, but also get some return on that, you should start thinking to diversify your portfolio. You should start thinking to mix your different asset class, and for sure to different products. We have a lot of clients at the moment who's actually closed the private pension scheme many years ago. They tried to get out of this insurance product, and they cannot. 10 years ago, it was still the option to do it and get some return on investment. Nowadays, due to the inflation rate, due to very low interest rate, it's not possible. So if you want to start really think about your retirement, just go for the classical retirement plans. You can find on internet many of them. If you want, we can also send you some personal pension tools that we have. Some of them are classical retirement planning. Some of them it's that how much money do I need in my retirement? If I calculate my fixed cost, my income and stuff like this. So there are many tools out there. if you want, we can send you all this information and also presentation afterwards to go through these numbers. It's very good to calculate it. And I did some kind of calculation. Actually, I take into account the person 35 years old, women. She wanna her gesetzliche Rente will start in 67, and Lebenserwartung, so how long she will be living, is around 80. So it's more than we as women, we are still more than the guys. So I will calculate 80 years old. And I decided I want to go to Ruhestand. I want to just stop working in the age of 60. So basically, I have 25 years to pay for my retirement. And my, let's say, will be to get minimum 1,600. And with 1,600, I will included, of course, Krankenversicherung and the whole taxation perspective. I would like to, live on my terms, let's say. So what are the options actually? And I calculate when I start paying not on the gesetzliche Renteversicherung or one of those two pillars, but I will decide to invest my money in the stock markets, different asset class, different portfolios. What will happen then? If I, for example, have one amount of money, let's say 1,000 euros, and then I will be able to put on the side 450 euros. And I invest in the strategy within 70% invest in stock markets and 30% in bonds, for example. And my monthly payments for the next 20 years, so when I'll be 80, depends, of course, how the markets will react. If there will be crash, if there will be financial problems on the market, if the performance of the stocks will be good, I can get a different amount. And here are the three scenarios. The yellow one shows you what will be in the very pessimistic scenario. In the pessimistic scenario, I can get on top of that 890 euros. And the average scenario that we have at the moment, for example, I can get between 1,600 and later on 2,400. If there will be like average scenario, I can get from 1,600 until 4,700. So those are the numbers that show you that if you don't start investing now and putting money and working for you, from the gesetzliche Renteversicherung, you won't get much. Yeah, you won't get much because the basket is small, and the people who are paying for this gesetzliche Renteversicherung there are not so many of them. There are always the old traditional who are paying that. And the question is, do you need more flexibility? If you need more flexibility, the Restamente product won't be good for you. If you want to have more flexibility, first of all, you have to, of course, build your cash flow. So you should have at minimum 6 months or your netto salary on your account in order to buy this Notgroschen. Yeah. So there's this option. There are, of course, some golden rules, which also it's good to remember when you start thinking about the investment, start thinking about your pension dream, start thinking about your Altersversorgung. It's good to not to depending on single income. So, for example, if you are a freelancer, try to find another source or income, doing additional maybe work or taking additional offers. And it's very important that you don't save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. So when you get your monthly salary, please put a minimum 10% of your netto salary on your saving account, and make a regular investment account and start investment. Never test the deep of the river with the bottom of it. That means don't put all your money with the products that you don't understand really. The products they are complicated. The products which won't allow you to get rid of them if you need money. And of course, don't put all eggs in one basket. That's the most famous Warren Buffett quotes, which said, don't put all the stuff in insurance or life insurance. Don't close too many insurance. Just think about what kind of insurance I really need. Life insurance, house insurance, home insurance. Think about it, what is actually really necessary, and make the calculation on that. And to make this calculation is of course easy to use this online tools. There are online that you can find in internet, and also to calculate how much money do I really need for retirement. This calculation which I show you, it shows that someone who earns 56,000 euros per month still will have 330 euros pension gap. So you always have to find a way how I can invest this additional money which I have. It makes sense to put it in life insurance, or it's better to put on the stock markets and really invest in long term. Yeah, that's all from my side. I think I motivate you to start doing and thinking about your investment. And I noticed there were more people at the beginning. I hope not that this topic was too boring, because there are many people who are confused with this topic because it's quite complex. But now I'm open for your questions. So feel free to ask me any questions that you have.
Thank you very much on behalf of everyone, first of all. I should say we had actually slightly less attendees in the beginning, so there was an increase.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes, it's a high topic, but it's a good one to dive into. I suggest that for the Q&A part, we can start with the written questions. And then once we cover those, if anybody has more questions, they can also unmute and have a conversation. So I can read out the question for you, and you can just answer if that works for you.
Okay.
I'll be reading this out from the chat. If you want, you're welcome to read for yourself, whatever is more comfortable.
You can do it, because I lost with the chat. I mean.
Okay. So first question, I currently have a full-time job with an annual salary. If I go on maternity leave for 1 year or more, what happens to my monthly contribution to the pension? Does it pause? It actually even combines a little with the second question. So let me read this out as well, and maybe it's possible to build a detailed answer. Is it possible to transfer the 3 years seniority for pension due to childbirth from the mother to the father, or split that? Or if you have multiple kids?
Okay, so the first question, so as I mentioned in my presentation, it's always possible to, the contribution that you pay during working in Germany, they are not only for your monthly salary. So there are additional contribution periods that are taken into account and which will be paid to the state pension. One of them is this time when you take time out to raise your child. So maternity leave, it's taken into this part. So during maternity leave, all this contribution will be paid to the state pension. And depends in which pension scheme you are. Some of them, they allow you to split between the mother and father and to change it, and some of them, they are unfortunately not very flexible. No? So it always depends from the pension scheme that you pay the contribution. So my advice will be to just contact the Versicherung Makler, who just I mean close with you this pension scheme, and discuss with them, because it depends from the company and insurance company. No?
So it would be also possible to change when you start, generally, like health insurance, right?
Yeah, because some of the pension scheme at the moment, especially this private one, they have different options. So for example, you start with the basic packet, and then you can increase it to adding life insurance for your husband or wife, or you can add on top of it house insurance, or you can on top of it Autoversicherung and stuff like this. So there are different components. The question is actually, what do you really need? If you start paying the contribution for the pension scheme X, maybe it makes sense to keep it going. It depends of the amount that you pay for monthly and yearly. Yeah? As I said, some of them it's not so very easy to actually to cancel it. A couple weeks ago, I have one of the clients, and we tried to close one of the pension scheme, and it wasn't possible because it was part of the membership program, something very old school, something which you will never even thought about it. Yeah, so it depends from the insurance company.
Is VBL part of the GRV? So VBL part of the GLV?
I don't see this question.
The person who asked this question, maybe you want to unmute and add a question?
Hi.
Hi.
It was me that posted this question. So I'm currently employed by a state institute, the Max Tilbrook Center, and we have the regular Renteversicherung, but it's called VBL. So it's part of VBL Ost, I think, and it's part of the öffentliche Dienst thing. So I was just making sure that it is the gesetzliche Renteversicherung.
Yes. It's called betriebliche Renteversicherung. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'll read a little bit out of order just because there's another question on the VBL. I was working in the public sector and I was paying a contribution to the VBL, and now I'm in the private sector and I'm not paying the extra contribution to the VBL. Is there any advantage to continue contributing to the VBL?
No, I mean, there are many disadvantages when you pay to both of them. So basically, your new insurance company, they should actually calculate how was already paid for the old one, and then based on that, they should give you an option or at least offered what will be actually the most appropriate for you. So it depends how much do you actually pay in the old system and how much do you pay at the moment with the new one. But this transformation is actually easy to go from one to different. It takes just quite long in Germany. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Probably missing some context. So whoever wrote this question, be ready to add some. But it says, would you recommend these company pension schemes, specifically referring to expats who might not live in Germany by the time they retire?
This company pension, you mean this 5 of them that I mentioned, like this support fund and stuff like this.
Sorry, it was me who asked the question. For our company is working with another private insurer for pension. So they kind of, this goes to what you initially referred to. They kind of top up on your pension for this specific company, and they would invest in their own little stocks or whatever they do, and they promise you some increase in your value, but that only stays there. So if I swap companies, I can take it with me eventually.
Yeah. It's this pension funds. These are pension funds. Yeah. So it depends from the company. Of course, the company they would like to keep you as long as possible. That's why they offer this additional bonus. And there are quite often scenario. Many companies, they want to keep their employees, and they offer them additional benefits. That it's taking part of your monthly salary. It's maximum 10%, and this 10% will be invested in the stocks or bonds or any other assets class. And mostly if it's a young company, young or very well-known company, I would say, quite often they have really good options. So, for example, SAP or the HubSpot or the PayPal, they have quite nice pension programs for employees. Well, you can of course gain on return on investment, and it depends, of course, what is an agreement, what are in which products they are invest. No?
Sorry, just to bother you, that wasn't a question though. It was referring to that, but the question was actually if us as expats, does it make sense for us to invest in these kind of pensions? Will it give us a return that is worth our while? Because maybe we're not gonna stay here when we retire.
Yeah, but if you stay at least 5 years, it's completely fine, huh? Because
What
to get this, in order to get this money, you have to pay in this pension minimum 5 years. So you will get by the
I'm sorry, but you only get back when you retire, right? So the money will still be invested. Okay, after 5 years you can claim the money, but only when you retire when you're 67.
Yeah. So that's the problem with this kind of structure, that you will get this money in next 25 years or something like this.
Thank you.
Next question is it possible to transfer employment years from another EU country?
Employment year. That's a good question.
It's okay to reply later also.
I'm not sure. I have to check it. I have to check it. Yeah. Because it's always the question, where do you pay taxes? If you pay taxes not in Germany, then don't. Then that's not possible. I think so, but I can check it and then back to this question, no? We don't.
Is there a good private pension scheme for someone who is always moving and changing country of residence?
Yeah, I would say just not investing in pension, a classical pension chain, but rather investing in the stock markets. That's my honest answer actually at the moment. If you are moving from one country to another and you probably won't stay longer than 5 years, it's hard. And probably you would like to get your money quicker and not in your retirement time. So the good option is actually at the moment start investing in stock markets, start investing in ETFs or regular mutual funds.
Is it 5 years continuous or 5 years total, even with a break in between, for example, a maternity leave?
5 years in total.
Not sure I understand now. So it's 5 years that include things like you mentioned, if you're getting unemployment benefits, if you're on parental leave, if you're doing Bildung, but if you're just not working, not studying, not on a maternity leave, but also not getting unemployment benefit, does that go to the count as well?
No, that's excluded that. So you have to be in one of this one. So you have to either start study, either you have to plan the family, or apply for Hartz IV or Arbeitslosengeld and stuff like this, no?
And it can be that it's 1 year of this, and then you left Germany for a year, came back for another 4 years, and then it's okay. Okay. And next question is, studies abroad while you're still registered in Germany, does that qualify as time in which you're eligible for a pension continuity?
Yes. Because you are registered, so basically your Wohnort, so your address is in Germany, the fixed address, let's say. Yes. And you can always, yeah.
Does the 5-year rule apply also for a private/company pension?
Yes, basically yes. That's the overall rule.
Okay. According to another group or post, a blogger, 75% of German women between 35 and 50 today will be later affected by old age poverty. Any good idea how to be financially more independent from spouse and state?
Of course, start investing in stock markets. That's start investing in ETFs. I'm doing so. Privately, I don't have any Riester-Rente, Rup-Rente Produkte. I'm the mother of 2 small children, and I calculate what is make more sense for me to pay €100 saving plan for my children instead of putting this in Riester-Rente product, and the calculation was very clear. It doesn't make sense to put in a Riester-Rente product, even that you have this tax deduction and additional contribution, this Zuschüsse. It makes still more sense to put money into the stock market. So it's always the question how you diversify your portfolio, how you can start actually setting up the portfolio, but I noticed that it's from Madame Moneypenny, so she's also a big fan of ETFs, so probably you know what I mean. Huh?
An anonymous question, what do you think of fondsgebundene Rentenversicherung as a private pension?
Fondsverbundene Rentenversicherung is a yeah. That's that's my Lieblings one, I would say. Fondsverbundene Rentenversicherung. You have to be really careful with that. Fondsverbundene Rentenversicherung. It's a kind of funds that you invest in insurance products. The problem with, first of all, they are very expensive. They started actually when you look into monthly cost or yearly cost, they started with 1.35%. Quite often you have the products that are not very easy to get rid of it. So, for example, if you close Fondsverbundene Rentenversicherung, you cannot just cut it in any time that you want without paying additional cost. And most of this Fondsversicherung, Renteversicherung, they are connected with the other funds. So it's like vehicle product. Nowadays, it's the question, do you have to pay such a big percentage of your anyway saving money additional on managing this funds? I don't think so. And it's really hard to get rid of it. Nah? So first of all, they are very expensive. Secondly, you don't have this flexibility. When you say, I need a cash flow, you cannot get rid of out of it. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's sometimes it's better have less in portfolio, like just investing in one gesetzliche Renteversicherung or a VBL-Versicherung and plus investment on account instead of having different small one, because it doesn't make sense on the long term. And the long-term costs are much more higher. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What happens to the money paid for the pension if you worked less than 5 years in Germany? Is that money lost?
No, it's calculated somehow. I don't know how exactly, to be honest, but it's calculate how many years you were paying into the system, what was your salary, and then it should be paid back. But the question is if it will be paid back, because it could be the case that in this basket, by the end of when you are 67, there is no money left. Yeah. And then I don't know who gets the money first, who is the first in, first out. I don't know. I have to check it, to be honest. But the German pension security pension scheme seems to be one of the secure. So I don't think so that you will lose the money. You will get just the money that you pay in minus inflation rate. So probably you will get less, much more less, but you will get something back.
And you cannot get it earlier than when you retire. Like if I leave Germany tomorrow, everything I saved in under 5 years, I cannot access.
Yeah, that's the idea behind it. That's the idea behind it, that the money that you pay in will not go for your let's say early retirement, but the money go to your grandparents, you know, already, because they are in the need. So it's like you, at the moment, your payments, your contribution are paying back to grandparents. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any difference if you work part-time or full-time, or is it just the income you gain?
No, it's just income. It's just income. That's good, no? Yeah, that's how do I calculate how much I can save per month? If you want, we can do actually exercise. I have one of the who was that? It was Katrin.
Katrin, if you feel like unmuting yourself and playing this exercise, feel free to do this. I see that Katrin is on the call, so it can be sometimes a few seconds to unmute. So
no, but you don't have to share your income. You can. Okay, so we can have like average income. Yeah. So I will share my screen with me. Wait a second. Do you see my screen? Yes. No? So here is like which is called like finanzielle Freiheitsrechner. So it's called how much money you will get if you start saving. So let's say I put some of the numbers already. So let's say you pay Miete, house inclusive naming cost of 600. Will it be possible in Berlin, or should I put a lower price? 600. I will keep 600. Then the monthly, how much money do you spend for Essen and household, so dining and stuff like this? 350, let's say. Mobile function, internet and stuff like this, 30 Euros. Verkehr, Mobilität, BVG-Karte, I don't know what is. And then Versicherung, ne? Gesetzliche Versicherung, Krankenversicherung, Berufsunfähigkeitsversicherung. So in total, your Ausgabe pro Monat, so the money that you spend per month, it's 1,473 euros. So that means per year, it's 70,600. And then is the scenario. So the scenario number one is, how much money do you need in next 20-30 years? Depends on the product that you invest. Let's say we calculate 20 times, so in 20 years with the return on investment 5%. Return on investment 5%. That means that you invest in stock markets. 5%, that means that you don't invest in Riester-Rente-Produkte, Versicherungsprodukte, Rentenverbundet-Produkte and stuff like this. So that means 20 times 5% the rente, that means it will be 353,000 euros. If you feel you are not very chance-oriented investor and you feel that you need more security instead and liquidity instead of high return on investment, then we calculate with the rendite, which is 3.3% for the next 30 years. And what are the do you still see it? Yeah. So that means in this first scenario, if you still invest in stock markets, you will you need almost half a million in order to get to retire with your spendings. The question is how, if the spendings will keep like from month to month like they are at the moment, or if the spendings will increase. That's the option. There's also the option that you can use the typical retirement planner, which is also very nice tool, where you put how old are you? Let's say we are 35, it was good. Your annual income, let's say it's 55,000 per year. Inflation plus income increase, it's 2%. Let's say you have on your retirement saving balance 5,000 euros, and on your annual saving account you have 15,000 or 10,000 euros. Yeah, 10,000 euros. You decide not to put money in the classical Versicherungsprodukte, but you want to invest with the stock markets, where you can gain a profit between 2.3 until 5.6. Let's say we are 3.4%, 3.5% approximately. Then you can see how your saving balance will be working through the years, and you can also see here what depends on your salary, which is also increase the salary, which will be by the end of the month will be your balance with the interest rate and interest saving. So you can follow up all this information. And of course, the amount that you wanna start to investing is of course the question. How much money do you have already as an income? Basically, the rule is that minimum 10 to 20% of your netto salary should go on investment. And then is the question in which kind of investment you can do. Should you do more stocks, single stocks, mutual funds, ETFs? You keep mentioning investing in ETFs. Which medium? Yeah, so for example, a good platform where you can learn more about ETFs, it's for example FinMarie, also where we invest, but also very well known and popular is, for example, justetfs.com. That's a German website where you can also learn more about ETFs. Yeah.
There is also one more. You keep mentioning the ETFs. Which medium would you suggest to use for the investment? So not just the learning.
Yeah, so just ETFs, it's very good medium where you can read more about ETFs. It's a German medium where you have the different options, the different ETFs options there. You can check what is behind these ETFs, how does it work.
And well, I can personally recommend to use the FinMarie for actually investing. I attended a talk by Karolina last year. That's how we got to know each other, and I think this is a great tool and a good use of part of the money. So
yeah, as I mentioned, I have more and more clients. Let's say the elder one, the women who 10-15 years ago they decide to close Rentenversicherung or pension scheme, and now they need money and they cannot get rid of this agreement. They have to pay, or they can pause the payment, and they will get the rest money in the next 20 years, 10 years. That's the shame. So really think about how you can split your investment, how you can diversify your portfolio. Would you recommend investing in European or US mega stocks and ETFs? I'm a very big fan to diversify the portfolio. So what does it mean? It does mean you should for sure have the European stocks, ETFs, very important. You should have German stocks. At the moment, there are very stable one, but also US one or also emerging market. It's also a good option. How much tax do I have to pay when selling US first European the mega stock ETF for long-term investment? If your tax residency is in German, you pay 25%. If you are Catholic or Protestant, you pay 26%. With ETFs, you also have this advantage that you can deduct from the tax. This is called Freistellungsauftrag, FSA. and it's 801 euro if you are single, 1,602 euros if you are married. But 25% you have to pay tax.
So there's one anonymous question: how can I top up money to my pension paid by the employer? Am I obligated to use the pension firm from work? What are good reading materials on the topic?
How can I top up money to my pension paid by the employer? No, you are not obligated to use the pension from your work. What are the good materials reading on it? I will say this Rentenversicherung, Deutsche Rentenversicherung Bund, they have the information on that, but this information are in very overall in English. If you are looking something more deep dive, most of the materials are actually in German. Pension firm for my work, it depends, of course, how big is your employer, what are the conditions. You don't have to agree. You are not obliged to use this pension firm. If you decide that your previous employer had a better, you can just continue it. But it's a lot of paperwork, no, for that.
And the top up is possible.
Yeah.
One more. What is the smallest amount someone can put into ETFs as a start?
You can start with 25 euros saving plan. You can start really with the small saving plan, but I'm not talking about saving plan which is putting on the Girokonto, on the Tagesgeldkonto. I'm talking about the investment account, when each of the month this 25 euro is invest. And depends on your risk profile, depends on your risk awareness and a willingness to invest. You can gain return on investment. So the good option is if you start earlier. That's of course the better, because then the time frame it's longer, and because of the compound interest rate, you also gain additional profit. So compound interest is like the 8 of Weltwunder, yeah. So it's very good to keep it in mind. Every time when you have the saving plan in ETFs, that money, the small amount that you earn each month, each year, will be reinvest. And the idea is just keeping doing it regularly, even in the time like Corona, like now.
I think we reached the end of the written questions. So if anybody wants to unmute and ask a question, you don't have to expose any personal data. Feel free to do this. And if not, I can say that the recording will be available on YouTube, so you can look again at any part that was not clear.
And if you want more information in terms of how you can start investing in ETFs, or if you have more detailed question that you didn't want to share during the talk, just write us an email. I will maybe leave an email. We also have the Meetup group, Facebook group, LinkedIn profile, and stuff like this. We also have we also organize a lot of events where we talk about this topic and how you can start investing money, how you can deal with the investment, how you can set up your first account, what are the pros and cons of doing that. So if you have any question, just feel free to contact me. I can also send you my email. And of course, if you would like to have the presentation, please let me know, because due to the data protection rules, I cannot contact with you directly, so it should be other way around. If you have any questions on that, just let us know. We are happy to help. We are sitting in Berlin. At the moment, Corona office, home office, but hopefully in the future we will organize some of the offline events. At the moment, all of them they are online, which is actually not so bad. No? Yeah.
It's like then really that's it, right? We gave people a chance, and all the questions were asked. You were very clear.
Okay, good. Cool. I mean, the
Thank
topic
you very much for your time and for all the information and the knowledge share.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and really pleasure to. Yeah, and next time we'll have this topic real estate. No.
Yes.
And
our next event is on. I know it's next month, but I forget when. There it is. The next one is August 19 on the Payslip Breakdown. And the buying real estate is in October 27.
Exactly.
Yeah. So lots of more useful information to come. Again, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you very much, Karolina. The link to the recording will be on Slack, and it will be also on the Meetup page of this event. Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.